Joan Crawford, a resounding name, a golden icon of Hollywood. She was a queen of the silver screen, a model of resilience and glamour. Yet behind that brilliant spotlight, a brutal truth awaited exposure. Christina Crawford, her adopted daughter, broke the silence. And what she recounted was anything but beautiful. Let's pull back the velvet curtain to uncover the dark side of a legend. From difficult childhood to the pinnacle of stardom. To truly understand the complexity of Joan Crawford, we need to go back in time to her challenging childhood. Born Lucille Fay LeSueur on March 23, 1904, though she often claimed 1908 to maintain a youthful image, Joan's life was a series of instabilities from the very beginning. Her father left before she was born, and her mother remarried multiple times, leading to constant relocation. Lucille's childhood was spent in poverty, lacking affection and stability. She had to do odd jobs to make a living from a very young age, from housework to street vending, and even spent time as a maid and dishwasher in a boarding house. This harsh environment instilled in Lucille a burning desire to escape her impoverished circumstances. She harbored a fierce dream of a better life, a life of abundance and recognition, which she believed could only be achieved through fame and wealth. With extraordinary resolve and relentless ambition, Lucille LeSueur found her way to the stage. Initially, she was a dancer joining small theatrical troupes and performing in nightclubs. Step by step, with her captivating looks and tireless diligence, Lucille caught the eye of Hollywood talent scouts. In 1925, she signed a contract with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer MGM, and that's when Lucille LeSueur completely disappeared, giving way to the name Joan Crawford, a name chosen in a contest organized by a film magazine. The name change was not just an administrative formality. It was a rebirth for a new person, a new icon that Joan meticulously crafted herself. She abandoned her painful past to embrace the persona of a promising star. Her early years in Hollywood were far from easy. Joan faced fierce competition from a host of other talented young actors. However, she stood out due to her diligence, iron discipline, and astonishing adaptability. Joan constantly honed her acting, learned from directors and colleagues, and was always ready to work tirelessly to achieve success. She quickly established herself with the flapper image, a modern liberated girl, an icon of the 1920s in silent films. When the era of talkies arrived, Joan quickly adapted, proving she had not only beauty, but also a voice and depth in her acting. By the 1930s, Joan Crawford had become one of Hollywood's leading box office queens. She was an immensely influential film star, not just for her acting talent, but also for her unique style and trend-setting ability. Joan's roles often portrayed strong, independent women who overcame adversity to achieve success, which made her an idol for millions of women worldwide, especially working-class individuals. Beyond the screen, Joan's personal life was also a public spectacle. She married and divorced multiple times, had famous romances with stars like Douglas Fairbanks Jr., Franchot Tone, and even her legendary rivalry with Bette Davis. Every marriage, every relationship was thoroughly exploited by the press, further solidifying the legend of Joan Crawford, a woman not only glamorous on screen, but also dramatic in life. She seemed to have achieved everything she desired: fame, adoration, and ultimate power. But few knew that the price of such fame and perfect control was precisely what lay hidden deep within the velvet curtain of her personal life, and especially concerning her closest loved ones. The naked truth. When Christina Crawford broke the silence. When Joan Crawford passed away on May 10, 1977, the film world mourned the loss of a legend. The public commemorated her with respect and regret, praising her illustrious life and brilliant career. However, just 1 year later in 1978, that entire perfect image was torn apart by a book titled Mommie, Dearest. The author of the book was none other than Christina Crawford Joan's eldest adopted daughter. This was not just a personal memoir, It was a cry of outrage, a stark accusation exposing the brutal abuse and a tragic family life hidden behind the glamorous gates of the Beverly Hills mansion. Christina did not write Mommie, Dearest to seek fame or revenge. As she once shared, her primary motivation was to seek the truth, heal the deep wounds from her childhood, and more importantly, to help other victims of domestic abuse who might be suffering in silence. The title, Mommie, Dearest, carries an ironic and bitter meaning, completely contrasting with what readers were about to discover within. The pages of Christina's book painted a horrifying portrait of Joan Crawford. Not the movie star the public knew, but an abusive, obsessive, and severely unstable mother. The most famous and shocking detail in the book, which later became a symbol of her cruelty, was the wire hanger incident. Christina recounted that in a fit of insane rage, Joan dragged her from bed in the middle of the night, screaming and brutally beating her with a metal wire hanger, because the little girl had hung clothes with common string hangers. That scene, the image of a Hollywood star in a silk robe, eyes wide with fury wielding a hanger at her young child, became deeply etched in the public's mind, serving as the clearest testament to Joan's malice and pathological behavior. But that was just one of countless abusive acts Christina endured. Joan Crawford was described as a mother with an extreme obsession with control. She controlled every minute aspect of Christina's and her younger brother Christopher's lives, from the clothes they wore, the friends they were allowed to play with, to even what they were allowed to eat. Joan was obsessed with cleanliness and perfection. Christina recounted being forced to clean the house to the point of exhaustion, even scrubbing floors with harsh cleaning chemicals until her hands were raw. Joan frequently forced her children to perform excessive chores, then verbally abused and humiliated them if they failed to meet her almost unrealistic standards. Beyond physical abuse, Joan also mentally tortured her children with cruel, disparaging, and constant insults. She regularly demeaned Christina, sowing self-doubt and fear. Joan's words were destructive, eroding a child's self-esteem and trust. Christina had to live in constant fear, never knowing when her mother's next outburst of rage would erupt. Her moods swung wildly from sudden displays of affection to uncontrollable fits of anger, keeping Christina in a perpetual state of high alert. The book also revealed that Joan Crawford often exploited Christina to maintain her perfect public image. Christina was forced to participate in photo shoots, appear at events, and play the role of the obedient, happy child, while in reality she was enduring unknown humiliations. Joan's relationships with men and her personal issues, including alcoholism, if any, were also touched upon, suggesting the deep psychological instability that may have contributed to her abusive behavior. Christina's life in the Crawford mansion was terrifyingly isolated. She was rarely allowed to interact with the outside world, and when she was, she had to strictly adhere to Joan's rules and scripts. Mommie, Dearest pulled back the velvet curtain of Hollywood, not only exposing a cruel Joan Crawford, but also raising profound questions about the nature of fame and what lies hidden behind the spotlights. It forced the public to reevaluate a legend, and more importantly, it opened a crucial dialogue about domestic abuse, particularly child abuse, in a society where such issues were often concealed. The book is not just Christina's story, but also a voice representing millions of children who suffered abuse from the very people they should have trusted and loved most. Mommie, Dearest changes perceptions of a legend. Immediately after its release, Mommie, Dearest caused an earthquake in the entertainment industry and among the public. The initial reaction was one of extreme shock and disbelief. How could a beloved icon like Joan Crawford be such a cruel mother? Many loyal fans vehemently denied Christina's accusations, defending the image of the star they had revered for decades. Joan's close colleagues in Hollywood were also deeply divided. Some, like Myrna Loy and Barbara Stanwyck, who had worked with Joan, expressed support and did not believe Christina's account. They described Joan as professional, dedicated, and showing no signs of cruelty. However, others, while not openly confirming the entire story, hinted that Joan's personality had complex and perplexing aspects. Despite facing much controversy, Mommie, Dearest quickly became a pop culture phenomenon. The book rapidly landed on bestseller lists, and subsequently, in 1981, it was adapted into a film of the same name starring the talented actress Faye Dunaway as Joan Crawford. The film vividly and sometimes exaggeratedly portrayed the events in the book. Dunaway's haunting performance, especially in the iconic "No More Wire Hangers" scene, became an unforgettable part of cinema history, concretizing the image of an abusive Joan Crawford in the public's mind. Thanks to both the book and the film, Joan Crawford's image in public perception was permanently altered. She was no longer just the glamorous film queen, but also a complex, multifaceted character with terrifying psychological depths. Mommie, Dearest became a symbol of the raw truth hidden behind celebrity glamour. It was not just Christina's personal story, but also a wake-up call about domestic abuse and child abuse. At the time the book was released, these issues were still taboo, often hidden within the four walls of the family home. Christina's voice courageously broke that silence, opening a vital dialogue and fostering awareness of the abusive behaviors many children endured. Christina Crawford faced much criticism and pressure after publicizing her story. She was accused of being a disloyal child and an opportunist, exploiting her mother's death for financial gain. However, despite everything, Christina steadfastly defended her story, asserting that she was simply telling the truth and seeking peace for herself after years of suffering. Christina's courage not only brought justice for herself, but also inspired countless other victims to speak out about their experiences. She transformed her painful experience into a powerful tool to change how society views domestic abuse, turning Mommie, Dearest from a Hollywood scandal into a profound reminder of the importance of listening to the voices of the wounded. Christina Crawford's Mommie, Dearest exposed a completely different, shockingly dark and painful side of that legendary woman. The book not only revealed the brutal physical and emotional abuse Christina and her brother endured, but also unveiled an unstable, control-obsessed individual with deep psychological issues hidden beneath the glamorous facade. The wire hanger incident became a symbol of that cruelty, a detail etched into collective memory, forever reshaping how the public perceived Joan Crawford. Ultimately, Christina Crawford's courage in breaking the silence was not just an act to find peace for herself, but also a powerful voice for all victims of domestic abuse. She transformed her painful personal experience into a driving force for societal change, affirming the importance of speaking out and confronting the truth, no matter how harsh that truth may be. Mommie, Dearest is not just an autobiography. It is a lesson about truth, the right to speak out, and the complex nature of human beings, even those considered legends. Should we separate artists and their works from their true selves? Or do revelations like Christina Crawford's force us to reconsider and reevaluate the idols we once worshipped more fairly? So, we've explored a tragic aspect behind Joan Crawford's glamour through Christina's account. What feelings has this story left you with? Were you surprised? Share your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video if you found this content valuable, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on other fascinating stories about Hollywood and its secrets.